Hi, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Steve Stolz, and I've had the pleasure of serving on the Church Finance Committee for the last several years. And in our last meeting in September, I made the comment during the meeting that I thought all the presentations that everybody's made on stewardship before me have been fantastic because it shares why people like Danny and Sheila and the Comers and Thomas are giving to this church. But what it hasn't really shown you is where our true financial picture is, and there really hasn't been, in my opinion, a sense of urgency that you might have expected has presented itself because of COVID. So I could blame COVID on everything, but I wanted to give you a little bit of background to what the CLC committee has looked at as far as numbers over the last couple of years. So the first slide that I'm going to show you, because I'm going to try to explain this in 2 slides and 3 numbers. The first slide that you see is just a picture of our giving over the last 4 years. And you can see that our giving is average about $450,000 a year. So it really doesn't grow because we've been adding church members, but as you might expect, people move away from Naples, people pass away, people just sometimes get frustrated with the church and they leave. So our membership has stayed about flat. So what the CLC committee did is we kicked off 2 years ago the initiative that most of you know about called Growing Forward, with the goal of adding membership to this church. The first thing we did was a real basic thing. We put a sign out front on busy Immokalee Road because we thought with all those cars driving by, people ought to know there's a church there. The second thing we did was we hired and put in place a position of Director of Adult Ministries, and thank goodness we did that because Mike's skills in video have been has really what's allowed us to have church remotely and virtually like we are today. Otherwise, we would not have been able to do everything that we've done over the last several months. But then, COVID hit, and all of a sudden, our ability to attract members has really been a challenge. So the second picture I want to show you is where our expenses are. This is a summary of our most recent budget. You can see that the green number shows that our expenses, just to keep the lights on and keep the salaries paid, is around $500,000. Our total budget is around $600,000. So in a normal year, we have a gap between $50,000 to $100,000. We fill that gap with generous donations from the congregation, Strawberry Festival proceeds, parking, but all of those things have taken a hit. Parking, kids aren't coming to school. Strawberry Festival didn't make much money last year because of the COVID situation. So now here we are after 4 months, and our giving is actually down 23% after 4 months from the run rate. So we really do, as you might expect, have a financial challenge at Cornerstone. So here's my ask as you wrap up the year. I know that this COVID thing has been a little bit of a have and have not issue. Many of you have in your checking account probably more money than you ever anticipated you would have because, face it, we are limited on what we can do. We're not going on vacation, and we are not going out to eat and all of those things that you typically spend money on. With that, I just ask, between now and the end of the year, look at that and then think about the church. The second thing I know is that there are unique rules as it relates to your retirement funds that you may be able to access by the end of the calendar year. Just a place to look. The second thing, or third thing that I would ask for everybody out there is Growing Forward was about attracting new members. So if you find yourself and you're not in a position possibly, which a lot of you aren't because we're in a challenging time, please get the message out about this special place so that we can actually achieve our original goal for Growing Forward of adding new members. So in conclusion, what I'd just like to show you is this chart. I was up here 2 years ago and I pointed out that we had an acrylic stained glass window just hanging up there behind me. And I just asked, does that bug anybody? And apparently it did, because literally 2 weeks later, we had an initiative and a campaign, and now we've got this beautiful stained glass window. So I know this church can get things done. So with that, I just ask you, please, COVID has presented its challenges financially, so just examine where you're at. Think about the church between now and the end of the year as you do look at your pledging for next year, but there is an immediate need because of the situation we're all in. So I will be around after the service, the second service, to answer any questions, or if you need to reach me otherwise, or anybody else on the CLC, please call us and reach out to us if you have any questions about what I just showed you. Thank you very much.